Choosing the best motherboard for gaming or the best board for another type of computing task is an essential step in your system build, even though things like CPUs and graphics card usually get more attention. Essentially, every part of your PC plugs into your motherboard. Its form factor will dictate the size of the PC you'll need to use, and a board socket and chipset will determine which processors you can install. We have listed the top 5 gaming motherboards and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you choose the best one for you. Links to all products with the best prices mentioned in the video are in the description below. You can also find a more detailed analysis and a comparison tool on our website, guidinggear.com. Number 5. NZXT N7 B550. NZXT's first foray into AMD motherboards is a success. Coming in late to the game allowed the company to implement feedback from its Intel boards, adding more USB ports to the rear I/O. The additional time also allowed NZXT to implement cutting-edge Wi-Fi 6E as well, alongside 2.5 GBE. Outside of that, the appearance changed significantly from the company's previous boards, with shrouds dominating the surface and an absence of onboard RGBs. With an MSRP of $229, the NZXT N7 B550 costs about $15 more than our primary pick, but delivers a newer Wi-Fi chip, more and faster USB ports, and solid performance in a package that's visually distinct from all other B550 competition. If you can spend this much and don't need any extra PCIe 4.0 bandwidth that comes with similarly priced older X570 motherboards, the NZXT N7 B550 is well worth considering. Number 4. ASUS ROG Strix B550F Gaming. Sure, the ASUS ROG Strix B550F is the same price as plenty of the X570 motherboards, but it's a premium motherboard with all the trappings you'd expect from ASUS's Republic of Gamers stables. What you'll no doubt be wondering about is performance. Is it actually all that much better than a more prosaic and cheaper B550 alternative? At stock clocks and default board settings, the inevitable answer is no. In fact, the ASUS ROG Strix B550F Gaming is a solid 50% pricier than the likes of the MSI MAG B550M Mortarand, tangibly slower in most of our benchmarks, including games. Where the Strix looks stronger inevitably involves overclocking. AMD's laissez-faire approach to clocking the twangers off pretty much any CPU that comes in its way, by enabling access to super simple core ratio tweaks, means you'd almost be mad not to give it a go. The Strix B550F gets ASUS's slick and familiar BIOS interface that allows access to not only the core ratio, but pretty much every setting a keen overclocker could wish for. So you have the choice of bumping the core ratios up and letting the board work out the details, or getting down and dirty with voltages and timings. Allowing the board to do the detailed brain work results in an overclock of our AMD Ryzen 3 3100 quad-core test chip of 4.2 GHz on all cores. The Ryzen 3100 is good for a 3.9 GHz boost clock as standard, so that's a 300 MHz overclock, which is significant if not exactly stellar. That said, of the B550 boards we've tested, is the far more affordable MSI board that actually comes out top in our straight performance testing. But the ASUS can overclock far better, even if it does chew up more raw power from the plug on the whole. The ASUS ROG Strix B550F Gaming is the whole package then, and right now is our all-around pick for the best B550 motherboard. Though that still feels like a tough recommendation when X570 boards are the same price. Number 3. Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro. At around $330, the Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro is a mid-range Alder Lake motherboard that covers all the bases very well, with minimal sacrifices. There are ample storage options including 4 M.2 sockets, updated audio, and a new appearance. In our testing, performance thermals and overclocking were also well within the range of other Z690 boards we've tested. Between its 13 USB ports on the rear I/O, 4 M.2 sockets, and capable power delivery, all at a price that's well below flagship options. There's a lot to love about the Z690 Aorus Pro, so long as you don't require integrated RGB lighting or Wi-Fi 6E out of the box. The Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro is an excellent Alder Lake motherboard to build your Z690 system around. Number 2. ASUS ROG Strix X570E Gaming Wi-Fi 2. High quality components, some serious heatsinks for the VRAMs, and the best chipset from AMD make the ASUS ROG Strix X570E Gaming Wi-Fi 2 one of the best motherboards available for AMD PCs in terms of value. Admittedly, it doesn't deliver all the features you'd find in enthusiast-grade boards, but this is about as good as you can get for a desktop motherboard. The motherboard is super important, but it's also challenging to get it wrong, so long as you buy one that matches the CPU you intend to install. If you're choosing one that strikes a delicate balance between performance and price for AMD fans, it would be the ASUS ROG Strix X570E Gaming Wi-Fi 2. AMD's Ryzen generation of processors is dominating Intel, and the best motherboard for us from ASUS is a perfect match. It's possible to install up to a maximum of 128GB RAM using the 4 DIMM slots provided. Though the likelihood of you requiring any more than 32GB is a stretch, since only intrusive workstations that handle huge files need such large amounts. The best part about the ROG Strix X570E Gaming Wi-Fi 2 is the high quality components used throughout. This is one of the more critical factors in choosing a motherboard in a solid power delivery setup. Capacitors and other performance components should be part of a premium batch for enhanced reliability and better support for overclocking. The rear port selection is pretty good. ASUS included DisplayPort and HDMI, optical S PDIF out, 2.5GB LAN, Wi-Fi, 7 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, as well as an additional USB 3.2 Gen 2 USB-C port. You can easily hook up all your favorite gaming accessories and then some. You've also got RGB connectors, pump headers for water cooling, 2 M.2 slots, plenty of SATA, and enough PCIe slots to install all your favorite sound cards. And because it's using AMD's latest chipset, you'll be able to take advantage of PCIe 4.0. Number 1. MSI MAG B660M Mortar Wi-Fi DDR4. As a slightly more affordable Alder Lake option than some of the Z690 boards out there, this MSI MAG B660M Mortar Wi-Fi DDR4 sacrifices some of the luxuries, yet still touts an impressive feature set. Not only are we looking at great power design, but this little micro ADX board manages to fit 8 USB ports on the back panel and a bunch of internal headers on the board itself. One obvious thing missing from the feature list is the support for PCIe 5.0 graphics card. Although seeing as no such card currently exists, that's not the miss you might think. Everything else is present and correct though, including a reinforced X16 PCIe 4.0 slot for the GPU, another full-length slot running at X4, and then a final, short X1 PCIe 3.0 slot. The fact that you get a pair of PCIe 4.0 M.2 slots for your drives will be plenty for most users too. You also get a 2.5GB per second networking, courtesy of Realtek, and Wi-Fi 6 support from Intel. Your top Z690 board offers 10GB per second LAN and Wi-Fi 6E, but for our purposes that is another one of those luxuries we can afford to ignore. When it comes to performance, the switch from DDR4 to DDR5 doesn't make a huge difference, and if we're talking stock CPU performance, the same can be said for the switch from Z690 to B660. The 14-phase power design is configured so the vCore itself gets 12 phases, and combined with the 60A stages, that means the MAG B660M is able to keep a stock clocked Core i9-12900K running at the same level as it will on far higher spec Z690 motherboards. There is, however, a drop in gaming performance with the B660 boards we've tested so far, so this chipset may not be the perfect option for a gaming PC if you're aiming to squeeze the absolute most from your components. It has to be said though, that the difference is slight and only really noticeable with a super high-end GPU and CPU combination, and even then only at 1080p. The MSI MAG B660M Mortar Wi-Fi DDR4 is a quality little micro ADX motherboard, and it's impressive that a sub $200 board will still run the i9-12900K at its stock settings. This is an ideal board to build an affordable small form factor gaming PC around, and our only real issue is that there are a few DDR4 based Z690s at this price level that might offer a little more for your money. Let us know in the comments which model works for you the best and why. Thank you for watching the video, and that is all for this one. If you find this video helpful in any way, give a huge thumbs up, stay tuned for the upcoming videos by subscribing to our channel. Hope to see you in the next video. Till next time, see you guys later.